Happy Halloween, everybody, and Tony here with my tribute to Zedd's Monster Mash from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which aired on Fox Kids on October 28, 1994. This was directed by Jerry P. Jacobs and written by Cheryl Saban. Out of all three Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Halloween episodes, this was the one that I absolutely enjoy the most. It is totally on par with Trick or Treat as one of my all-time favorite Power Rangers Halloween episodes, although Trick or Treat is slightly greater than this one, but Zedd's Monster Mash still contains a whole bunch of high-octane action, kick-butt fight choreography, and a grand medley of monsters from past to present, ranging from Snizzard all the way up to Doomstone. Although Austin St. John, Walter Manuel Jones, and Tui Trang did not appear in the flesh as Jason, Zach, and Trini respectively, but were replaced by their voice actors, Paul Rosenthal, Joel Grey, and Judy, at least this particular Halloween episode managed to be totally enjoyable. And yes, I do have to bring up Austin St. John, Walter Manuel Jones, and Tui Trang because this was the time when Jason David Frank as Tommy ascended not only as the White Ranger, but also as the new leader of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, all because of what happened to St. John, Jones, and Trang. For those of you not in the know, Austin St. John, Walter Manuel Jones, and Tui Trang wanted more pay and wanted to be unionized. However, Haim Saban was quite infamous for being rather cheap with his production and did not accept St. John's, Jones's, and Trang's plea. Consequently, Austin St. John, Walter Manuel Jones, and Tui Trang walked out, and they were eventually replaced by, at first, their voice actors in their morphed sequences, and eventually by Steve Cardenas as Rocky, Johnny Young Bosch as Adam, and Karen Ashley as Aisha. But I'll gladly talk about them a little bit later in this tribute video, because at least we get the amazing glory of having Lord Zedd and Goldar assemble a whole bunch of monsters from Snizzard to Robo-Goat to Primator to Key Monster and Doomstone, and I'll gladly also talk about them much later in this tribute. But first, before any of the Rangers and any of the monsters could do battle against each other, Angel Grove High is preparing for a Halloween chaperone trick-or-treat event that the main Rangers, especially consisting of Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly, host to chaperone children for trick-or-treating. Kimberly is also excited for Jason, Zach, and Trini to be heading off to Switzerland for their peace conference, but also realizes that this could change the fate of the Power Rangers team. And of course, we have Tommy dressed as a pirate, Billy dressed as a mad scientist, and Kimberly dressed as a sort of hybrid of a jester and Columbine. But it's not just the main Rangers involved with this trick-or-treat chaperone, but also Ernie, who is dressed as a mobster boss, and funnily enough, Bulk and Skull in their adorable hilarity entering as two gladiators who throughout season 2 attempt to find out the real identities of the Power Rangers. Bulk and Skull would not be the absolutely adorable lunkheads without getting themselves into some slapstick. So once Bulk gulps down a huge handful of hot candies, his mouth burns and spins around in a vertigo and heads to the Bob for Apples bucket to cool his mouth down. And once he gets out of that bucket, it almost looked like he was having blood coming out of his mouth, which I know sounds rather gory, but to not frighten anybody, it's pretty much the sugary residue left from the hot candies. And as a bonus, Skull takes the green apple out of Bulk's mouth and chomps on it. But not all is Halloween cheer, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, as Lord Zedd, Goldar, and their cronies have plans up their dastardly sleeves, and this involves abducting Tommy. And what better way to make sure that this plan is set in motion than having the putties disguise themselves as children? The plan works out pretty well. Tommy is not totally aware that the children he's chaperoning are actually putties in disguise. So while Tommy is merely accompanying the putties in disguise, Billy and Kimberly accompany the rest of the children, while Bulk and Skull try to do some investigating work of who the real Power Rangers are. Trick-or-treating commences, and once again, Bulk and Skull get themselves into a bit of a pickle. They try to capture the Red Ranger, but it so happens to be a young girl dressed as the Red Ranger, and she and her friends douse him with spray foam while her mother, dressed as a witch, wallops them on the head with her broom. At least Bulk and Skull had some sweets along the way, although their desperate attempt to cry for the Power Rangers' help ends up in two random young trick-or-treaters already seeing their ploy and not buying it. Now with Lord Zedd's dastardly plan put into motion, Goldar intercepts and the strange kids transform into their real putty forms. And Tommy once again demonstrates his miraculously magnificent moves by taking the putties down with every flying kick, foot sweep, spinning back kick, and every attack you can name under the sun. And once again, Jason David Frank steals the show in this fight scene, and it is just glorious to witness. Seeing the fight choreography, which was so masterful and so magnificent to watch, was just an absolute treat from beginning to end, and even Goldar has a go at transporting Tommy to the haunted forest. The key monster also does his fair share of dirty work. First, by not being satisfied with the small keys he has, until he reaches for his master key to trap Tommy in the haunted garden. Just as Tommy is about to morph into the White Ranger, he ends up being intercepted again by a new monster, Doomstone. And he's also brought along his allies, Robo-Goat from Missing Green, and of course, the return of Pumpkin Wrapper from Trick or Treat. Tommy is not one to give up, as he totally wails it on Robo-Goat, Pumpkin Wrapper, and Doomstone, but his fighting prowess is almost all for naught, as he ends up being thrashed by Doomstone. And without his Power Morpher, he's pretty much thrown like a ragdoll despite all the moves that he has possessed and demonstrated, let alone mustered from his arsenal. Billy and Kimberly suspect that something suspicious has happened. Tommy doesn't pick up his communicator, so they teleport to Zordon and find out that Tommy is trapped in the haunted garden. Zordon assigns Billy and Kimberly to help out Tommy at the haunted forest, and y'all know what that means. It's morphing time. So Billy and Kimberly morph up, suit up, and help out Tommy at the haunted forest, first by having Kimberly kick the absolute crap out of Robo-Goat, and Billy handing Tommy his morpher so that Tommy can morph up, suit up, and do battle against these monsters as the White Tiger Zord Ranger. This leads Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly to be prepared for battle, and we wouldn't have a complete monster battle without Doomstone pulling out some more dirty tricks. He summons Rhino Blaster, the Invincible Flytrap, and Snizzard. And even with Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly fighting with all their might and strength, it's still not enough. There were some reinforcements in the forms of the now morphed Jason, Zach, and Trini to help their friends out. But we all know that Power Rangers wouldn't be Power Rangers without some huge monster fights, right? So Lord Zedd throws his power bombs to Pumpkin Wrapper and makes him grow. And this missed opportunity from Trick or Treat to have Pumpkin Wrapper grow and do battle against the Power Rangers in the Megazord is definitely something that was compensated here, but this time it's the main Power Rangers with their Thunderzord. As Zack calls the power of the Mastodon Lion Thunderzord, Kimberly calls the power of the Pterodactyl Firebird Thunderzord, Billy calls the power of the Triceratops Unicorn Thunderzord, Trini calls the power of the Saber-toothed Tiger Griffin Thunderzord, and Jason calls the power of the Tyrannosaurus Red Dragon Thunderzord. With the Thunderzord assembled, Jason, Zack, Billy, Trini, and Kimberly are finally ready to do battle against the enlarged Pumpkin Wrapper, and Tommy is also ready to help out his friends with the help of Saba, his talking sword, to call upon the power of the White Tiger Zord. The White Tiger Zord is also ready to do battle against the enlarged Pumpkin Wrapper. And what more can you expect from a great Zord versus large monster battle? It's absolutely amazing just seeing these two Zords and this enlarged monster just have a go at each other. And of course, Pumpkin Wrapper also has his dirty tricks up his sleeves. He throws 2 pumpkin bombs at the Thunder Zord and the Tiger Zord, but the Tiger Zord remains unfazed as Tommy initiates a huge punch at Pumpkin Wrapper, and the job is finished when the main Rangers summon the Thunder Saber to slash Pumpkin Wrapper to shreds and have him explode gloriously. And seeing the final shots of the Thunder Zord standing in its majestic might, and the White Tiger Zord affirming that the deed is done, and the crown jewel of this victory is the Thunder Zord putting its Thunder Saber back into its sheath and standing as victorious as ever. Unfortunately, this recent victory leads Lord Zedd to be absolutely furious at this recent failure. Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly return to Ernie, stating that their trick-or-treat chaperone was a success. Even Ernie seems to think so. However, Bulk and Skull just had one too much trick-or-treat sweets and don't want any more of that sweet stuff, thus almost leading them to vomit. At least, Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly are in great spirits. While I still love Zedd's Monster Mash, I would still argue that this episode would have been better if it were set much later after the whole power transfer, and just by having Rocky, Adam, Aisha already as established Rangers along for the ride, because it would have also been cool seeing what would Rocky dress as, what would Adam dress as, and what would Aisha dress as for Halloween. That would have been really interesting. But that insignificant little nitpick could be forgiven because Zedd's Monster Mash managed to still be as strong and amazing as a Halloween episode from the Power Rangers franchise. The medley of monsters being featured, from Snizzard all the way up to Doomstone, as well as the fight choreography mastered by Jason David Frank, especially considering when he, as Tommy, was absolutely wailing it on not only the putties, but also on Doomstone, as well as Robogoat and Pumpkin Wrapper, was worthy of a million applauses. And this is what I love in a great Power Rangers Halloween episode. Kick butt action, lots of tension, and a whole medley of monsters trying to conquer the main Rangers. And I could also forgive the fact that Austin St. John, Walter Manuel Jones, and Thuy Trang were not physically present in this episode because of their walkout that eventually led to their replacement in the forms of Steve Cardenas, Johnny Young Bosch, and Karen Ashley, portraying respectively as Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. But like I said, that could all be forgiven because the fun that I had with Zedd's Monster Mash, as well as just how brilliantly executed it was in terms of the fight choreography, as well as the Zord battle, were absolutely brilliant from beginning to end. And like I said, it would have been a better treat if Rocky, Adam, and Aisha also joined along for the ride. But like I said, I totally forgive whatever nitpicks Zedd's Monster Mash possessed and still look at it as a glorious Halloween episode that I totally love. All thanks to Tommy battling against these monsters with the help of his ranger friends. And seeing these monsters from Snizzard to the Key Monster to Doomstone just wreaking havoc, especially considering that Lord Zedd, Goldar, and his cronies are also in on this. And of course, what more can you expect? It is just brilliant in its own special way, and I salute Zedd's Monster Mash for making me, as the viewer, have a great time. And for those of you who caught Zedd's Monster Mash from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, whether you caught it as a kid on television or these days rewatching it as an adult, what'd you think of it? Did you feel like this was the best Halloween episode Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had to offer? Did you also feel that Rocky, Adam, and Aisha should have been in this episode instead of Jason, Zach, and Trini? Was there a moment that you really loved, whether it be all the fight scenes or some of the little moments or even the funny moments? Or did you feel like this episode did not really measure up? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my tribute to Zedd's Monster Mash from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Tune in much later for my review of Otto Respigi's La Fiamma at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. So until then, happy Halloween month, everybody, and may the power protect you.